everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Murray Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from our coronavirus-free studio.
So for now,
at the edge of the Great Red Divide in Marseilles, Illinois. So Murray, today we're going to talk about coronavirus, not like the stuff you get on the news, but some other stuff. Some
absolutely.
Really stuff.
So before we get into this whole big detail, I want to first thank all of our listeners and subscribers. We're growing every week, but we need your help to grow more. Please like, subscribe, and share.
Yep.
You don't get your podcasts on YouTube. You can get your podcasts on Stitcher or Demcast USA. Anywhere you find your podcasts, we are. We really need your help to spread the word.
Yep.
Second housekeeping note, I feel I must tell you, is if you're watching this on YouTube, you may see me grab my arm, hold it to my body, lean back. I am not having a stroke.
Nope.
But I did tear my rotator cuff in my shoulder.
And you know what, Murray? You're totally screwed.
I'm really screwed because if it's a full tear, which kind of think it is, at least that's what they're thinking, and I've had the MRI and the radiography with the needle. It was so much fun. It would be an elective surgery, and I would not be able to get that surgery now, nor would I want to because of the coronavirus.
See, I thought we were going to do our song.
Because of
do 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 do
my corona. Oh, we don't have it. I'd also like to point out that Heidi and I have two independent microphones that only we use, so we're not like the president licking a mic and passing it to the next person.
Her microphone, we're not shaking hands.
We are completely virus selfie. So how do we greet each other? We can't do high five because my shoulder will fall off. So what do we do, Heidi? And we do feet.
Yeah.
We do heads.
Wait. My big giant head.
Okay. You can't see it on you if you're not watching YouTube, but it's pretty hilarious because we're trying to do the mirror image in the camera.
And my head is way bigger than Murray's, so because she's got a peanut head.
I do. I have a freaking peanut head.
And my head is not that big.
Oh my God, are we talking about the heads again? Your head and your ears. I mean, my arms are growing, but your head and your ears.
Oh. I have an ear problem.
Okay, well, she cannot get her ears corrected during the coronavirus outbreak either.
And I wouldn't either. I don't have enough vanity in my body to have surgery to correct how I look. I look this way because I was made this way, you know.
Did you know
what was that?
That
elective surgeries are off right now?
Yeah, elective surgeries are off. So if you hear me whimper, if you see me hold my arm, if I do something weird, it's just because it's about to fall off. Mm-hmm. So elective surgeries are off. We need to, real quick, just talk about the curve. So you're hearing a lot on the news about this curve, where the virus will sort of peak in a population and then start to down. We don't know whether it was the extensive self-isolating issues or the quarantine zones. We're not sure whether it's just the course of the virus itself. But the point is that we can expect the cases to exponentially rise. It's happened in Japan. It's happened in South Korea. It's happened in Italy. It's happened in China. You can almost predict how the cases will jump every day based on what we've seen in other countries.
And because we had a president that was so busy denying that there was a coronavirus. And then
but Heidi, science isn't real.
Oh, my God.
Heidi, it's Holly May.
His reaction to all of this was so narcissistic. I mean, how can you...
Heidi just doesn't know what she's talking about.
Oh, my God.
President Trump has been the best. He made everybody get tested when they came back in the country.
No, they didn't.
No, that's a lie.
You know, here's the thing.
Sorry, Holly May. That is not legit.
You know, when he came, he finally went on television with Too Little Too Late a few days ago, which caused this huge amount of panic buying on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I mean, huge amount. Like in my community, in my small little community of Ottawa, Illinois, somebody was punched out. A store manager was punched out over toilet paper, and another man threatened to shoot up an Aldi's with an AR-15 if he couldn't get what he wanted. And so
that's some crazy shit.
It's some crazy stuff. Now, yesterday I was shopping at my local Farm and Fleet because, you know, people like me shop Farm and Fleet. And I had to go back by where they keep the cleaning supplies. Now, I don't need to panic buy because I live in Tornado Alley. So we always have a tornado preparedness kit. And you can look up, in fact, I'll post the links to how to make your own preparedness kit. It's a little late now, but you should always have one. And we have one because I live on a farm and I'm responsible for a lot of living beings. And I have to be ready for this stuff, right?
Right.
So I'm in Farm and Fleet and I'm packed by the cleaning supplies. And I was like coming from another area. And I see this person that I used to be good friends with that was totally radicalized by Joe Walsh and the Tea Party. I mean, totally. I mean, to the point where they
Don't tread on me, Heidi. Holly May, stop. Please allow Heidi to finish.
Well, to the point where her and her husband can't even sleep in the same bedroom anymore because if she gets up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, he might shoot her because they keep loaded guns under their pillows. This is how severe the radicalization is with them. So I see her shopping, and there's one bottle of bleach left on a pallet. Now, I don't need any more bleach. I have plenty of bleach in my house, but I see that they're aiming for it, so I reached down and swooped it up and put it in my cart and walked past them. So, well, it's because we used to be friends, and because I'm a Democrat, she called me an effing baby killer. You know what?
I'm totally okay with that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I thought, no.
Ain't nobody got. I don't care if you're a T-Rump supporter. I don't care if you love Joe Walsh and the Tea Party. But don't you call me names because you don't agree with my ideology. I mean, that's
exactly.
Don't threaten people that I hang out with.
Holly May, let me ask you a question. Since this has broken out, have you eaten out? Yes, I haven't stopped eating out. Okay, Holly May, where have you eaten at any Asian restaurants? Well, no, that's where the coronavirus is. Holly May.
We get into this with Marie and her
multiple personalities?
Yeah. Her characters.
So Holly May is saying that we can't eat in places because of the coronavirus because it's from where it came from.
No, that's a total lie, Marie.
But wait, Tom Tillis came out and branded it as the Wuhan, China coronavirus.
Now,
GOP legislators have been calling it the China virus, the China corona.
That's all a lie.
The president, the vice president, Alex Azar, all tried to pin the blame on someone else for what's going on.
But okay, so Marie, yesterday I did dine out with a friend. We didn't go to a Chinese restaurant.
But not because you were afraid to, because that's not where your flavor profile was.
My family had takeout from a Chinese place the other day because we love their food. And most of the people who are caring for my father right now are Asian, someplace that we would call Asian
or Pan-Asian, like the Philippines.
And a lot of the nurses that he, God bless them. I think that's the thing I love the most about my dad's care facility is the depth and breadth of languages and people that work there. Because without these immigrants, there would be nobody to provide the wonderful top flight care that he receives there. From the Philippines, from China, from Japan, from India, from Pakistan, from oh my gosh, the women that are there that are from different African countries, and when they start speaking French with an African accent, it's just so beautiful. I can hardly contain myself. People from island nations, I am swept away with the beauty of the languages and the personalities and the people that work there. And
if only more people felt the same way.
Marie, my mother used to tell me a couple of things that I did. Listen, and if you do these two things, life is easier for you. Embrace God's creation, all the flavors that it brings to you, because if we all looked and thought and felt the same, we would be bored with one another. And to never judge anyone by how they were created. Just embrace it because of its beauty. And those are the words that I grew up with, and how I look at things. I love when these nurses have a few minutes, especially because I stay with my dad overnight. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, I may ask somebody, how did you get here from Macedonia? Why did you choose Illinois? Why did you choose this particular town?
Heidi loves to ask that. Wherever we are, she asks people whether they're from a different place or they're a different color. She asked them, how did you get here?
She
loves finding out people's
stories,
history.
because my husband's really good at on doing all this genealogy, and I keep thinking about why my ancestors came here and why they settled where they did, and they had specific reasons. So listening to the beauty of those stories, and I want to say too, he has a lot of caregivers that are from Mexico, either naturalized citizens or here working, and to me, I find it enchanting and beautiful beyond belief to meet these people with their incredible stories. How did you get to Wheaton, Illinois? And they tell me these things because some of them come from beautiful subtropic areas. Why would you come to the snow, gray, gloomy place, And their stories are of hope and of beauty and of future. So that's what gives me hope during this coronavirus time, because I know these people didn't bring it over. It's
several of the things
travelers.
that I've seen that has been the best in people have been local businesses in our community saying, if you aren't able to get, kids, if your kids aren't able to get their lunches, no questions asked, come on in. Yeah. Some mechanic shops are like, if this goes farther and you need help, you need diapers or food, come on in, no questions asked. We'll help you any way we can. Right. And that is a true testament to
being an American, being a good American,
being a part of a society.
Yeah.
I said this when I was running for Congress. It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, whether you're pro-birth or pro-life, they're the same thing, pro-birth or pro-choice. When a tornado hits, because like Heidi said, we grow up in Tornado Alley, we have them all the time. Everyone comes together. Everyone knocks on your door. Everyone offers help who wasn't hit themselves. So that is why there is so much more that brings us together. And this time is confusing. It's frightening.
People
but
are
it
scared.
Doesn't have to be, because I really believe that as a community, we're able to keep each other safe, keep each other healthy, and work together.
Be a good neighbor.
Be a good neighbor is so important.
Being.
All right, and pause for a minute. Don't be an asshole. Don't try to scam. Don't try to profiteer off of things that are in short supply. Don't hashtag coronavirus unless it has something to actually do with it.
Yesterday, I had to go into Dollar Tree. And I had to go in there because my dog loves squeaky toys. One dog loves squeaky toys, and the other one loves to destroy squeaky toys.
Was there a run on squeaky toys?
No, but but I go in there and I get 5 or 6 because he's gonna destroy. The one will squeak them, and he'll keep the same squeaker for months. But if the other one gets it, he just destroys it because it's what he does. And if you ever meet my tiller, you'll know he's just a lot. He's just a lot.
He's a big brute,
and he can't even help himself because he's just a little better than a puppy. Anyway, so I'm in there and I had to comfort a teacher because they were out of hand sanitizer. Now, this was before our schools were called off until April 1st.
Governor Pritzker.
I know.
I'd like to say that there are many school board members I know and district administrations who struggle with this.
Right.
Luckily, we didn't have a particularly rough winter, so a lot of those snow days were built in.
Right.
But the flack that they're getting from parents
because
who
parents
have no place to put their kids, who are sending them to grandma and grandpa, who may be immunocompromised or who may be older. There's so many issues. And so by governor taking the bullet for that and saying, okay,
that's it. We have to prevent the spread of the virus.
And and this is why we have to prevent the spread of the virus by doing such an incredibly
social
severe
distancing
steps to social distance,
right,
is because we cannot isolate the cases of the virus,
right,
because there aren't tests.
Tests.
Let me just rephrase, because I really want this to hit home. The reason that there are no that the schools in Illinois have closed down and in many other states, the reasons that all major sporting events are off, colleges have closed, any place where there is a large gathering of people have closed down, and it soon will be across the country, is because we didn't have any tests.
Right.
If we had had tests, If we had been testing, we would have quarantined areas, helped people get over it.
Well,
so like Heidi and I talked about at the beginning, the curve.
Yeah.
That is why self-isolation is the only option we have right now.
So let's talk about why in China used to have 3,500 new cases every day is down to under 30 new cases every day, because what they did is they set up a drive-through testing place where if you had a temperature, then they would do a lung x-ray. If you had some indications on the lung x-ray, they would do a white blood cell count to see if you had pneumonia. And if you didn't have pneumonia, then they would put you into a portable CT scan. And I know how long you waited for your CT scan for your shoulder. And do you know that their portable CT scans can do 200 people per day? So what they did was they prevented those people from going back home to their families, because what happened with the spread there is people would be sick, told to go home, they would infect their families, and then you'd have a whole neighborhood that pretty soon that was under the weather. So what they did was they took people who tested positive with these
and
criteria.
Keep in mind, they did it in the area where the breakout was happening. So yes, there's cases across China, but the largest concentration of them came from Wuhan, China, and that still holds today.
Right.
They implemented strict regimens, which we would never do as the United States.
The United States couldn't
handle the care factor that Heidi's talking about is imperative. So having that ability to test allowed them to isolate people to not have the contagion continue to spread.
Right.
We cannot do that. So when your business closes down or you can't go to work because you're a teacher, or someone who works for the school district that's not a 24.
Right. That's a janitor or whatever.
A bus driver. Yeah. So the reason that you're not working right now is because Donald Trump didn't start the testing. He didn't. He had access. He chose not to.
He chose to try to protect the stock market.
The reason the economy is taking a giant crap, and it will, Heidi's right.
Too little, too late.
Big brain. I'm a Neanderthal.
Such a freaking narcissist.
So here's why I'm so stupid. The stock market is gonna be great. Whatever I'm doing isn't gonna hurt anything, because then they won't find out.
Only 40% of Americans have anything in the stock market. The rest of us are screwed.
Oh. And that's not even yes. But the point is he was so short-sighted and selfish and narcissistic that he chose not to expand testing, not to make it more readily available, not to change the diagnostics, because he didn't want the cases to explode, because he was worried the stock market might crash. Now, the stock market has already crashed, but worse than that is what we're going to face, because the entire nation has to shut down. So we're not going to be going out to move. Broadway is shut down for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. We are going to have amazing financial repercussions all across this country. Yeah. And that, my friends, is thanks to Herr Führer and his lack of honesty, integrity, or sense of anyone but himself.
Oh, well, his lack of brains, because he obviously doesn't have any. We should have been testing people at every port of entry. So the lies abound, my friends, and Heidi just spread it. Oh my gosh, she spread it. Sneezing is not a condition of the coronavirus, but I should have used a tissue. My apologies.
Yeah, it's all right.
Anyway, I do have seasonal allergies, and it's been kind of warm. And so my seasonal allergies are not an indicator that you're going to get coronavirus.
So the three biggest lies that we're hearing right now are that we have canceled travel, that all Americans coming back into the country will be tested, will be isolated, self-quarantined.
No, that's not true.
None of that is true.
None of it.
He did not isolate China or the Wuhan Peninsula. It was, or the Wuhan Province. It was the China and limiting the travel that went there for airlines. That was what it was.
Off of cruise ships. The thing is the idiocy.
He less than 4 days ago, Mike Pence said, "Go ahead." A reporter point blank said, for those people who are going on holiday on spring breaks, to say Disneyland Would you
Which is
recommend
closed.
them? Would you recommend them, holding off or waiting to see? And he's like, well, no, it's perfectly fine. And Disneyland frickin' shut down.
Yep.
These are people whose corporate profits will, they're all going to play that they cared during the crisis and use that for marketing, but that's okay because they actually did something. They're going, hey, we know we're going to draw a lot of people and we know we can't control this, so we're just going to help y'all make that decision.
Well, when the president made his speech a couple nights ago, and I sat in my dad's hospice room listening, and what I was expecting was a plan for controlling the contagion and a plan for health care for people who are going to be needing it, a plan for finances for the working people, and instead what I heard was an unnecessary travel ban, completely unnecessary travel ban, and a whole lot of self-congratulations. There was nothing of substance out there. We dumped $1.5 trillion to prop up the markets. Now, those are in short-term loans, and it isn't unprecedented. In fact, it's been done twice under the Trump presidency to prop up the markets. And it is a loan, and it's not really going to cost us, the taxpayers, anything. But there are other people that
assuming
could use,
they're able to pay back those loans.
Well, yeah, they have to give something. There has to be collateral for them to get those loans. So, and they've done this before, so I don't really fault that. But I keep thinking about the people with student loan debt and the people with medical debt and the people.
Oh, the government did say that they will waive interest payments on student loan debt if you have a government student loan.
Yeah.
So you still have to make your payment.
You just don't.
But you don't have. But they won't give you interest on it. Instead of saying skip your freaking payment, we'll eat the interest.
Instead of saying let's skip a year's worth of payments for everybody, for every student, so because we know this is going to financially impact you, they're just like, well, we'll waive the interest. Oh my God, some of these rates are at like 1.2%. It's not like a whole lot of interest. It's not like it's going to help anybody. And, we have people who are on the verge anyway, working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet, and they even can't with working 2 and 3 jobs right now. The most in our history working 2 and 3 jobs. And that's really important when we talk about low unemployment numbers. Now these people aren't going to be able to go to work or work, period. So here's what happens with them. They're on the brink. And we have multiple cities in my area where students have a 70% move-out rate, which means that the home that they live in when they enroll in school in the fall is not the home that they finish school in the spring, not even the same school district. So now you have all these working families, a lot of single mothers out here on the very edge financially, barely hanging on. And this happens.
Yeah.
And they can't go, their kids are home, they can't afford daycare. Their kids are home, they can't afford to feed them. Their kids are home, they cannot go to work. Their jobs are closed for 2 to 3 weeks. What are they supposed to do? And there was not one solution the president gave for these people, which are most of us, which are most of the people in the 38th district in Illinois that I ran in, not the people that can afford it. And, staying calm is really, really important, but we have to understand that this is going to affect working poor people exponentially.
Absolutely.
People make jokes about how there's going to be a baby boom in 9 months.
I'd like to point out something that no one has really hit on yet about. We've talked a little bit about it, about our first responders, our doctors, our nurses, and this goes back to the curve overwhelming the healthcare system. Right. Basically, at this point, everybody's going to get it. To the level of severity is questionable, and if we can all space out how we get it, if we can slow it down, meaning not everyone in the world gets it at once, or not everyone in your state gets it at once, but if you can catch it in a couple weeks, good for you, because we'll have a better way to handle it. So that's what we talk about. We want to flatten that curve out, but something that I haven't seen any municipalities or governments address is our first responders. And I'm not talking our nurses and our doctors who are in the hospitals. I'm talking about our policemen, our firemen, our paramedics, EMTs, ambulance drivers. Yeah. Those folks who are in contact with people daily. So if it gets into a police force and those folks have to self-quarantine so they don't continue, We have less police on the streets. We have less fire protection.
We don't have any
and I haven't seen anybody addressing
in place. We don't have any plans in place to cover that. Now, I'm sure in small communities like mine, if Marseilles goes out, Grand Ridge will come over and take over the fire department. I'm sure that our county sheriff's department will send police cars to Marseilles if our police force goes down. But you can only stretch that so far. It's even sanitation workers. It's everybody. I'd like to give a personal story about what happened to me at my dad's nursing home the other day.
Oh, please, Heidi.
So the president had spoken the night before, and I spent the night with my dad. My dad's been given last rites twice. He's 97. He'll be 98 in a couple of days. And the man is tougher than tiger shit, and that's what he tells you. Even in his catatonic state, when he wakes up and says something, he'll tell you he's still here because that's the name of the club, boys club he was with his boyhood friends back during the Depression, and was the TTS club. Anyway, seriously, my sisters and I all have those T-shirts too that say TTS.
All right.
So what happened is the nursing home began to panic because first the president said, don't worry about it. We've got perfect tests. We'll have a vaccine. We'll have a cure in no time. He was blowing smoke up everybody's asses to the point where, you might as well have been sitting on a smokestack.
The timeline just makes me want to go insane.
So here are the
2 months, people. May I just interrupt for 1 second?
Go ahead.
We had the ability
2 months ago, if we'd
2
gotten
months
on
ago
this.
to be testing and isolating cases that would not be spread the way they were. Should we have accepted science, realized it was real, and done something
Should we have
about
swallowed
it?
our ego and actually done the right thing?
Now back to your hospice care. I apologize. I just wanted to point that out one more time.
Okay, so we're coming up on an election, so I got to say one more thing. This is a time when you can picture a President Biden or President Sanders, or I like to picture President Warren, how they would have handled this. I know they would have jumped on it 2 months ago and maybe not stopped it completely, but I think they would have done a really good job.
And you still could have created a spin that showed confidence. This is so frustrating to me. When I look at this
when you can look
administration,
strong, Trump, you should have just taken it, but you didn't.
Well, this is it. Is the unforced errors.
In your orange powdered wig.
Knowing that this was happening, this was something that certain people thought they could use to their advantage,
to make money.
And they wanted to insulate and to make money. And instead of the president thinking of it, instead of anyone around him saying, getting out ahead of this,
honey,
being
your
the
new
first,
clothes are
naked. Numbers
Your
new clothes.
Yeah.
That you get out in front of this would be a great PR thing for you. You can look like a leader.
You could have won the 2020 election.
Yes, he could have changed
the
entire tone and tenor, because when he reads from a freaking teleprompter, the media is like, he was so presidential. Oh. Like, stop throwing your panties. The guy's a moron. But had he had any level of competency, the bar is so low that had he had any small level of competency, he would have won, but he doesn't understand that because that's not how his brain works. So it's all about power, control, and manipulation for him in this administration.
And
that's
the Republican Party. And the Republican Party.
Okay, one note before we go back to, and we will end on Heidi's.
Well, I got a couple of other things too.
Okay. But I do want to say it's an election season in Illinois. You are able to vote on Tuesday, March 17th, in Ohio, in Louisiana. No, in a couple of other states. I'm sorry.
You know, if you have an election Tuesday, go and vote. Good God, we cannot leave this stuff up to Orange Caligula again.
Today is March 15th, 2020.
Yeah.
This episode is going to go out. No, it's 14th. Tomorrow's the 15th. So sorry, today is March 14th, 2020. Go tomorrow, the 15th, the 16th. Early voting is still open. There will be less lines. There will be no lines. You can go in, you can vote, you can come right back out. If you go on Tuesday, I'm not sure how this virus thing is going to play out. Make sure you bring your own pen if you're in Illinois, because you have to use a pen to fill it in. You should have no problems, but the lines may be longer. So really consider getting in voting. If you did a vote by mail, make sure it's in the mail and postmarked. And those are my little pitches in the meantime. Okay, so let's go back.
While I was there with my dad, I had been there since 10 in the morning, spent the night. 10 the next morning, my sister, one of my sisters was supposed to come in. I'm one of 7 children. and spell me so I could go home, because when you spend the night there, you're not going to get 8 hours. I don't even think I got 5 hours of sleep, because they come in and reposition him every 2 hours and give him his medication and stuff. And
aren't you also sleeping in like a chair?
I'm in a chair, which is
very uncomfortable.
killing my shoulders, because I have partial tears in both my rotator cuffs. Anyway, and I won't get surgery.
Maybe we should rename ourselves to the hot mess mamas.
There's I spent my life as a horse trainer. I am.
The
My
hot
body's
mess mamas.
tore up from the floor up. Anyway, and I don't care. I had a lot of fun doing what I did. It was very successful. But here's what happened. Is at 10 o'clock in the morning, I get a call from my younger sister, who is my dad's primary caregiver. She has control over his medical. And she calls me up and she said, "Don't leave." And I said, "Why?" She goes, "If you walk out that door, they won't let you back in. They're going on lockdown." I said, "What do you mean? What are they locking it down?" And she said, "Because they have to control coronavirus." Then my one sister walks in. I can be firm. She can be bat crap crazy. And it's my next older sister. So she comes in and they let her in. And she comes in and she goes, "We can't leave." She said, "If we leave, they won't let us back in." And, my dad is literally dying. He is literally dying. As many times as he's bounced back, his body can't walk. He can't stand. He can barely swallow. He can't drink out of a straw. He can't eat food any longer. He hasn't eaten food in over 2 weeks. I don't know why he's still going. He just is. And when he has some energy, he'll spew out a word or two. He was listening to the news that day, and he heard them cancel the NBL season. Or delay it, and the word that came out of his mouth was, "Oh, wow." He heard and he understood, and I'd been trying to keep that information from him. So anyway, instead of leaving at 10 in the morning, it took me till 7 o'clock at night for them to promise me that they would allow hospice caregivers to come back in. In this hospice, each CNA, who's their primary, they're the ones that move them and reposition them and change them and whatever, they have between 8 and 11 patients at any one time, okay? And they work anywhere from an 8 to 16-hour shift, as is, And then they have one nurse for about 18 people, one RN that just goes up and down the hall with their little cart to pass out medication, start breathing treatments, that sort of thing. So he doesn't have anybody there that when he needs to he can only have moisture put into his mouth with a sponge, and that takes a long time. To do a small cup, a 6-ounce cup, could take you 2 hours. It could take you all day. He just doesn't drink very fast, but my dad and I are so close, and I don't want to cry, but I would stand there forever and give him a sponge to drink out of, because he's my dad. And I know that those nurses and CNAs don't have the time to do that for him, and he's the only hospice patient on his floor. And I feel terrible for the other people who are there that are recovering from injuries, who are just elderly, and that's where they live now, who can't have visitors because it's so hard and they're so lonely. And they see my family able to gown up and glove up and come in and spend time with him, because he is dying, and they aren't. Some of them have a real chance to get better, but the uncertainty, because they don't know what's going to happen, but they do know if it gets into that facility, it will kill everybody there. Those people are all compromised. Hundreds of people will die.
And it was, I knew what you were going through,
yeah.
And it turns out that that your nursing home was probably responding to the administration's advisory, because they put out an advisory saying no one in or out, no one except screened employees in or out of nursing homes and hospitals. And then today in the press conference, they revised those and made it clear. So the miscommunication got out, or they didn't think that far ahead about hospice patients.
It took 12 hours. 12 hours.
And I think that's probably why they were waiting, or that it came. But I know that it came down, and then they did say that.
And I would never risk the health or well-being of anybody in that facility, not one of the caregivers, not another patient that's living there, not my dad. So if they need to lock me out, they do. But it's such an emotional time for anybody to go through, and to think that he could be alone because of this coronavirus. is overwhelming. And
So
I had said
sad.
to the social worker, lock me in for 6 weeks. Whatever you need to do, I will stay here with him. And then I'm thinking, I only packed one change of clothes and I forgot my toothbrush.
And it's
I'm in
on the
trouble.
second floor,
So
so that we would have to
you'd have,
catapult the
yeah.
goodie bag into
I would
the
drop down a
window.
rope, and then you'd have to, I'd have to reel it up for stuff. And the food there is sometimes good, but usually not really great. So I would,
Sneaking food.
yeah, we'd have to, if I ordered a pizza, we were joking about how they'd have to throw it like a frisbee up to the room. And then we realized that the window only opens about
Oh
4 inches.
no!
So, like, dang it, they'd have to throw it sideways and the cheese would
And the
slide.
clothes would have to be a rope close, like
Yeah.
you pulled up.
Yeah.
Oh, that would never work.
So I wanted to talk, Marie, and that's my personal hell, but I know I'm not the only person that's going through this right now. So if you're going through it too, God, I sympathize with you. If your loved one is in a nursing home or in a nursing facility, I'm so sorry because I know we all know what we're going through. But I wanted to talk to you about some weird stuff.
Okay.
Some really weird stuff that has come to my attention. Now, I didn't win my race. I didn't win my Senate race. And, but people still ask me questions. They still bring stuff to my attention and say, what do you think about that? And it could be anything from the Fair Tax Initiative here in Illinois to should I inoculate my children with bovine coronavirus vaccine? Now, the first time I got this question,
You sent it to me.
I did because I thought it was a one-off, and I was bemused by it, okay? Because I can be a little sarcastic and smartassy, and I'm a farmer, but I understand. And we haven't had cows. I haven't had cows since I was a teenager, but I understand.
Dogs also have a coronavirus
Right.
vaccine.
And horses can't get it, but the common cold is a form of coronavirus.
Exactly.
But-
That's why it says on the bottle of bleach kills coronavirus.
Right. So
It doesn't mean COVID-19.
it doesn't mean to gargle it or drink
It
it.
means the family of viruses that affect the respiratory system
Right.
called coronavirus.
So the first person that texted that to me, I said, bovine coronavirus it's not the same strain of coronavirus, so don't use it. And it's never been tested on people, only on animals, so it's probably very unsafe for you to use. Okay? Now, and I'm trying to give a flat, clear, clean answer because I shouldn't say whimsical side, but my smartassy side sometimes gets the best of me, as you probably can see. But I thought, this person has a serious question. Should I inoculate my family? I can get this at Farm and Fleet. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't buy crazy cures that are
Yeah.
online. Many states' attorneys are cracking down.
On this.
Crapping, you don't need toilet paper. It doesn't make you crap. So going back to cracking down on scams and
Yeah.
frauds and religious cures and all of that.
Jim Baker, Tammy Faye's
Yes.
ex-husband, selling some type of coronavirus cure. Come on,
There
snake
is
oil
nothing
salesman.
that
Stop.
exists
To
right
cure-
now
to cure it.
to cure it.
We have no cure for it.
Weed helps.
We have no cure
That's
for
not
it, and we're 12 to 18 months away from a vaccine. So don't fall for anything else. That is just pure science. We don't have a cure. It's a virus. We have a very hard time curing viruses. That's why we struggled with AIDS. It's why people still get colds.
And that's a part of the reason why this virus is so much worse than your typical
it
coronavirus.
keeps mutating.
Well, it has components that are similar to HIV, which those components of this virus actually not just like a coronavirus affect your upper respiratory, lower respiratory pneumonia. This has a component of the virus that actually eats your immune system. It not only attaches, but then it pulls your immune system down as well,
Yeah.
which is why they're trying different antivirals related to HIV.
Well, and that may be a partial pathway to a cure, but when I sent you the thing on the bovine virus, I really thought it was a one-off. I thought it would never come up again. Then I found it posted on 2 social media boards, and I thought, you people, and I social media shamed both people who posted that. You have to be smarter than that. You have to be smarter than that, because, and that's from my friend Jim Rohn, my late friend Jim Rohn. You have to be smarter than that, and you can't believe that that's true. Now, today, and the coronavirus, bovine stuff is still going around, dog stuff is still going around. Please, no, don't do it. Okay. Today I got a picture of a rail car, not from one person, but from 6 people. and the rail car had a CO capital VID -19 on it. Okay, my son was crazy about trains when he was a kid, and we had a book that explained the markings on there. That's just a marking on what can go in the car and the number of the car. And it's unfortunate that it all went together on this one car and that somebody saw it in long enough to get a picture of it. They are not. No one is shipping virus via rail cars across the country.
I can't even.
No,
I can't even. I
but
think I hear Holly Mae coming in the door.
No, honey, people are scared. They're scared and they don't understand. They're scared and they want an answer because we can't just
because
Google
we
this.
haven't been honest and transparent.
Right.
The
It
best
starts at
thing.
the top of the government.
Who was the president who won his campaign by saying, I think it was it Clinton who's like, I may have to raise your taxes. Instead of no new taxes. That was Reagan, right? Or was that Bush? That was Bush.
It was HW.
Okay, so HW.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the mantra of politicians and no new taxes. It's,
And they're lying because there's always
absolutely. And when a
taxes.
politician is honest and says, look, this is going to suck, it's going to hurt, but here's facts.
Yeah.
That is what is so desperately needed right now. Yeah. And that's a part of why this panic is setting in. Because
and there's other things named COVID out there. There's video cables. There's chemical transporters. There's all kinds of things that this applies to. It doesn't mean it carries a virus. Just like Chinese food does not carry the coronavirus. Period. Stop it. Stop it! Sorry, I got my mama face on.
Yeah, she got so excited she bonked the microphone.
I did.
Like, damn, girl. It all comes down to using common sense. Don't be stupid. If it looks like it's too good to be true, it probably is. Get the real facts. Hopefully you live in a state that acknowledges science like we do with Governor Pritzker.
I want to give out idph.org. which is, or .il, that is our government website. And I'll put a link on our Facebook page and I will tweet it out.
I was critical of it because there
Illinois,
wasn't any information coming out of the CDC for a while.
Well, the CDC, I think, is compromised. And I think we can go with the World Health Organization. But the state of Illinois has got some excellent
I would also look to the state of Washington.
The state of Washington is
I was
handling
so
this.
Excited about all the steps that they took, all the measures they put in place. And I kept thinking, Illinois, I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're conspiring.
Yeah.
Because we need that same thing here. And seeing the reaction so far of Governor Pritzker has been awesome.
And I believe that we will have drive-through testing here set up within a few weeks, within a week, I think.
But we don't even have rapid tests yet.
We don't have rapid tests.
It's like 24 to 48 hour turnaround time.
And so we have to do the same things. We have to follow the Chinese and Korean model where they start with a temperature scan, and then they do a white blood cell count, and then they do a chest x-ray, and then they do the CT scan to see if you have it, which is actually, believe it or not, all four of those tests are faster than we can process a COVID-19 test right now. And the fact that we don't have those tests out, and we just found out that our president actually has ties to the company that makes those financial ties. So God knows when we'll get them. And the other thing I want to talk to you about, Marie, is panic buying. Stop it. Stop it.
Stores aren't going to close.
No.
Now they're empty because everyone ran out and bought everything they possibly could for the next week. They may not restock as quickly because it depends on what companies do, retail, food companies, etc.
Yeah.
I don't foresee them stopping that.
No,
slowing down production
in Italy,
perhaps
food
a little.
Stores are open.
Right. So you don't have to freak out.
No, stop freaking out.
But just be aware, be conscious. It's not the end of the world. This is something we've never seen before.
No.
But like we were talking, there are so many people in your community who are willing to help. Businesses, we'll get through this, but just relax. Don't listen to a thing that Donald Trump says. Hopefully you live in a state with a competent, rational, logical governor who doesn't think that, this is the reason for all of this is the apocalypse, which I hear there's a governor out there who's claiming that.
Oh my God. Things like that just cause fear and anxiety. And I know I've heard from so many parents on social media via text and message and so on that are worried about what they do with their kids, that their kids don't have enough to do. And one said, "Oh, my kids are fighting already." Well, they do that at the beginning of summer break, and they do that at the beginning of Christmas break and spring break. Every year we go through this.
So I got to tell you, we've been planning this for a month. I've made my kids very well aware. I knew it was going to happen. My sons were like to the teachers, "We're going to have to close down school. They're going to close down school." And they're like, "No, we won't. No, we won't." And then they're like, "Okay, my mom says," and it happened. So, I mean, you saw it coming. But when we got the message that the schools would be closed down, I went, "Boys, it's a 3-week vacation and we can't go anywhere. So guess what we're doing?
Cleaning the house.
Cleaning, organizing, weeding. It's going to be the best."
It's going to be the best. And, with my kids, when we would start these long vacations, we would do the, "Do you want to dig a ditch or do you want to go fishing?" philosophy. And it's a horse training philosophy, the Monty Roberts philosophy, meaning you can either scrub the walls, okay, or we can bake something, do something, make something. We would have a list of fun things to do. So if they were getting along and they wanted to pick something off the list, we could do it. The minute they started fighting, one vacation, every single wall in my house got scrubbed. And, I can play that game too.
So my family is going to be cleaning over this sequestering. So we're still hoping to be able to bring you more broadcasts. We're still hoping Heidi and I will remain very healthy. We may limit our out and social, but we will be on social media doing live stuff. Who knows? It'll give us a chance to explore this media.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, don't panic, don't freak out. It's
going to be okay. Bum, 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 bum.
My corona. We'll keep you posted. Keep us posted. If you see any amazing things or people in your community doing some pretty great stuff during this crisis, please let us know. We'd love to amplify their voices and show that there really is good out there.
Right. Then go vote.
Vote. So if you're in Illinois or Ohio or a couple of other states, go vote. Vote early. You won't have lines. You won't have to worry about catching anything.
In Chicago,
You'll
vote early, vote often.
You don't have to touch a thing. It's beautiful. Go. If not, go and expect some longer lines. Hopefully this won't stop the democratic process from happening.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, share. Check us out on Demcast USA. Mm-hmm. And we will talk to you soon.
Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com.